Imagine a jungle where every tree hides an enemy, where the ground itself is a trap, and where the world's most powerful military faces a force it cannot see. This is the Vietnam War, a war America didn't expect to lose, but could never win. Today, we uncover secret missions, brutal battles, and the turning point that shocked the world. Stay till the end, this story will change how you see war. The origins of the Vietnam War trace back to World War II's end in 1945, when Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnam's independence. But France, unwilling to lose control, returned, sparking the First Indochina War. By 1954, France fell in the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. Vietnam was split at the 17th parallel. North Vietnam, communist, led by Ho Chi Minh. South Vietnam, backed by the United States. America believed communism was spreading like wildfire, the domino theory. And Washington promised, Vietnam will not fall. On August 2, 1964, the USS Maddox reported being attacked by North Vietnamese patrol boats in the Gulf of Tonkin. 2 days later, a second attack was reported, though evidence remains unclear even today. But the US responded instantly. President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, giving him full power to wage war. America was all in. In March 1965, the US launched Operation Rolling Thunder, one of the largest bombing campaigns in history. B-52s unleashed firestorms across North Vietnam. But the enemy had something far deadlier than weapons. Tunnel systems, discipline, and patience. The Viet Cong disappeared underground. And reappeared behind American lines. US troops entered a nightmare. Humid jungles. Invisible traps. Guerrilla ambushes. Snipers they could never see. The Viet Cong used booby traps like punji pits, tripwire grenades, hidden mines. American soldiers lived in constant fear, one wrong step could end everything. To counter the Viet Cong's cover, the US used Agent Orange, a chemical defoliant. The jungles burned, but victory was nowhere in sight. On January 30, 1968, during the Vietnamese New Year, North Vietnam launched the Tet Offensive, a massive, coordinated surprise attack across 36 major cities. They struck Saigon, Hue, Da Nang. Even the U.S. Embassy in Saigon was invaded. Militarily, the U.S. pushed back the attacks. But politically, it was a disaster. Americans watching from home realized, we are not winning this war. Public support collapsed. On March 16, 1968, U.S. forces killed hundreds of Vietnamese civilians in the village of My Lai. When the truth came out years later, global outrage exploded. Back home, protests surged. College students marched. Families questioned the war. Morale inside the military dropped to its lowest point. In 1969, President Richard Nixon introduced Vietnamization, withdrawing U.S. troops while training South Vietnamese forces to take over. Peace talks began in Paris. But the fighting continued. America secretly bombed Cambodia and Laos, trying to cut off Viet Cong supply routes known as the Ho Chi Minh Trail. On April 30, 1975, the world watched a scene no one thought possible. North Vietnamese tanks rolled through the gates of the presidential palace in Saigon. The South surrendered. The last U.S. helicopters lifted off from the embassy rooftop as desperate civilians clung to the landing gear. The war was over. The Vietnam War left scars across nations. 58,000 plus Americans killed. 3 million Vietnamese dead. A nation divided. Veterans returning home to no support. A conflict that forever changed U.S. foreign policy. And a question that still echoes today. Was it worth it?